Hey everybody, I'm Zach and I like movies. Happy Pride, everybody. I hope you're doing okay. And I wanted to come up here and recommend and talk about a movie that, not only is good to watch during Pride, but also is a movie that's been on my watch list for a good couple of years now that I finally crossed off that list just last night. And it is one of the most beloved historical epics of the 90s. One of the many we got that during that decade. One of the essential, a landmark film to ever come out of mainland China. A movie that is breathtaking and beautiful, that deals with performance, with theater, with gender, with shifting political landscapes. It is 1993's Farewell, My Concubine. If you've only heard of this movie, it's a movie that you probably mainly only heard of and don't really understand. And probably, if you're like me, you only like knew more by name and like the one image of the opera, the uh, the opera performer with the painted face. If you do watch this, you will find a truly breathtaking epic. It definitely deserves the title of epic. It's nearly 3 hours long, crosses the decade spanning history of 20th century China, but it's still an intimate work of character mainly between the relationship of two performers of the Peking opera, but it's also primarily a story of queerness, of gender, of this sort of like a fuzziness between like performing and like the sort of fuzziness of like the theater and real life. It is truly a beautiful movie. I think so. It's primarily about it focuses on Dozy, who is abandoned by his mother for and given up to a Peking opera, an opera troupe. And Peking opera is like the dominant style of opera performance in China. There he's it's mostly him. It's mostly about him, sort of fitting this like front half where it's like him as a child, and he befriends a boy named Shito, who like looks out for him and stuff. And this like front end of like I feel like the first 30 minutes or so is honestly just kind of kind of a harsh watch, because we see the sort of training that Dozy and the other boys are put through to like get all the flexibility, the right proper way of like performing, and the specificities in like what roles to play. For example, Shito is trained to learn the Jin roles. These are the more masculine hero figures, whereas Dozy is given his more frail features, is trained to play the Dan roles. These are boy actors playing female roles, and there's it's sort of, and you could imagine this would like instill a sense of instill a sort of a confused sense of self-identity in him at a young, especially at such a young age, and especially given the nature of who he is as a person, because Dozy, as he grows up, he is a homosexual man, but there is much more, and even in like sort of like doing some like research after I watched this, there is a lot more like nuance in like not just like in the historical setting and the kinds of performance, the kinds of like female roles that these boy actors were playing. And I understand being a little wanted to kind of distance or at least be more hypercritical on the kind of like a transgender of like a reading Dozy as a transgender, or at least in the more contemporary understandings of the terms transgender or gay. But whereas as far as the trans reading of this goes, Dozy is quite literally has this identity beaten into him when he's practicing this play that's called Dreaming of the World Outside the Nunnery. He is meant to read the line, "I am by nature a girl, not a boy." But instinctively, he just sort of says, "I am by nature a boy, not a girl," and for that he's punished. His master just wraps his hands with a wooden paddle, to the point that his hands are bleeding, doing this over and over again. And it's all these boys face these punishments, but it's really as far as this specific line, Dozy's really the only one who really struggles with this. And I understand being sort of cagey about this, but it's because given that a trans identity is understood through it is the way I'm trying to word this correctly. The way that transgenderism is realized is through self-actualization. It is not like the way that it is that is literally forced upon Dozy at this age. But again, there's a lot of and I don't fully have the full context. Just I'm still learning about the kind of roles that these boy actors were meant to play, and it's still and what's interesting, and I think it does sort of lead to, especially given the more conservative nature of mainland China, when yes, homosexuality in past periods were more known, but here they're not really talked about. Even when back in the 90s when Farewell My Concubine was released to great international acclaim, won the Palme d'Or that year and everything, it was banned in mainland China, which drew a lot of international criticism, and there was so much pressure that the Chinese government eventually felt the need to withdraw that ban, but still went forward with censorship, and because this wasn't really talked about. It was more just again, we don't they don't talk about it. This was, and in that way, this movie really was a kind of real trailblazing movie. And as far as in terms of in terms of the queerness of it, there is still that sense of a gendered performance, given that again these are boy actors playing these. This is a boy actor playing this feminine role, and it's really interesting, and it's interesting in that and tragic in the sense that it's Dei is his sexuality is expected from other people, and it's sort of like he's forced to come out of the closet, whether he's ready or not, which is really just tragic, but once he does step out to do this gendered performance, and it is a very gendered performance, like I said, he is taken advantage of, and he's taken advantage of by his instructors, by the opera's patrons, and he is sort of done to perform this very, again, sort of ideal image of what femininity is in Chinese culture, and it's a real odd space to exist in, because as he grows older, he falls, does seek romantic affection for Shito. They are, it can't be reciprocated, and you see a lot of the tragedy, you see a lot of the heartache involved in it, and even in that space, but even despite that, really despite this sort of uncomfortable and even a transactional situation that he exists in as this Peking performer. It is on the stage that he is where he's able to feel most at himself, and as both of them grow up, they are take on stage names. Dozy takes on the name Chen Ye, and Shito takes on he takes on Duan Lu, and these are where the two real performers, two real stars of the movie come through. They are Sheng Fengyi as Duan Lu, and the shining star of the Hong Kong screens and queer trailblazing icon Leslie Cheung as Chen Ye. And my God, wow. If you have not seen a Leslie Cheung performance, you absolutely owe it to yourself to watch this. Without Leslie Cheung, there was no Farewell with My Concubine, and frankly, without Leslie Cheung, I don't think queer identities and stories would be or anywhere near like nearly as I don't think nearly as visible with either in Hong Kong or even mainland China. And it's, he really was kind of this, like, again, a real trailblazer. Like, he was so beloved, he was like beloved as like a singer and an actor, and also but like was so beloved with his stage presence, with like his androgynous looks, but also his charisma and again his talents. He was he really is kind of like what he really was then, what K-pop stars are now, and as a performer, he is marvelous here. He so much, and what's interesting is that his performance. I know that much of his performances was dubbed in Mandarin China, but you see so much in his eyes, all of the pain he suffers, being forced to like keep his identity like in one box as he plays the role. Even when he chooses and loves playing these roles, it's like there's such a strong desire to just like bring his stage performance out into the real world, and be reciprocated in the same way from his stage partner. These two's main performance is the titular Farewell My Concubine, where Diye plays Concubine Yu, and Zhao Lu plays this like very war hero character Zhang Yu, and their tale ends with consort taking the hero's sword and slicing her throat with it. And there's a lot of imagery, there's a lot of moments and beats in the movie Farewell My Concubine that echo and imitate the stage play. There's a very powerful scene where there's sort of play acting, and he takes this sword that was found and gifted to Zhao Lu. Di takes it and holds it at his throat. And the imagery here is just the visuals here in this movie are just so breathtaking, and the way Leslie Cheung plays this is so it's again, he's such a mesmerizing face, because done up in all this like perfect like makeup. He just stares just achingly at him, and tears fall down his face. It's a real heartfelt performance, and things get messier for them when not just in terms of when like the political landscape of China shifts between like the Sino-Japanese war that happens, and then they're occupied by the Japanese, and Dei performs for the Japanese, which eventually will bite him in the ass when the Cultural Revolution happens and the Mao Zedong and the Communist Party take over, and he's being accused of like collaborating with the enemy. But in a personal sense, things get even messier when Zhao Lu falls for Zhang, who is Jushin. She is who is played wonderfully by Gong Li. And she is a high-profile courtesan of the House of Blossoms, so like high-end beloved prostitute, and he falls for her, he marries her, and Dee is just kind of a petty, messy diva about this, more in the melodramatic way, not in the fun, bitchy kind of way. And but again, it's a movie that really feels the tragedy of the characters, mostly with Dee, and so many, you have so many scenes where where like you get such beautiful splendor in most of these costumes. My God, like I'm stunned that this didn't like get more nominations at the Oscars, but then again, that year the Oscars was kind of tough. Like it was going up against like Schindler's List and The Piano and The Age of Innocence and the like. There was but the fact that this didn't get like more love with like its gorgeous like specific makeup work, or especially these costumes. My God, they're so elaborate, so colorful, so it's divine. These costumes are incredible to look at, and again, I think and I wouldn't say there's also this sort of in terms of like the performance and the play sort of like blurred lines between performance and living outside of that performance, that sort of called into question with like these like book ending scenes where Zhao Lu and Die they had sort of reunited after a long separation, like a decades-long separation, and it does sort of like call it sort of like you sort of question if that's really true, given how like apparently this whole their like relationship and lives was were like across like I don't know 50 at least 50 years, and but like they look like they're just like haven't aged a day or anything. But this does feel more symbolic than anything, especially given what happens in these sort of bookending scenes. And it's beautiful. Really, I think this movie is wonderful. I think it's I think it's still a fascinating movie, and I really do recommend this. It's like I really got to get the physical copy of this. Criterion put it out on 4K last year, and I heard the transfer is beautiful. And I watched this on the Criterion channel. It's gorgeous. This is absolutely worth the time. Absolutely worth a gorgeous movie. A very it's one of those movies that feels that really needs its flowers. And really has earned its place in history in terms of like just great films, great historical epics, and great queer films. I think if you give it a chance, if you give it the time, you'll absolutely feel rewarded. And I think that'll do it right now. That's can't recommend this movie enough. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, an incredible film, and Leslie Cheung just. Ah, man, what an icon! What an absolute icon! I think that's all I have right now. And I'm Zach. I like movies. I have plenty of movies to watch. I've been going through a lot of movies lately. It took me a while, but I finally found a rhythm to like watch a whole bunch of movies finally. But for now, I'll see you next time. For now, I'm Zach. I like movies. I hope you watch movies, because movies are life. Life is good. And happy Pride. You take care of yourselves.